RKO was there, and they hired Fats Waller and Bill Bojangles Robinson to star in the musical comedy movie called Hooray for Love. When I came along, then they added me to the cast.
It's all the way you look at it, you know.
Got a handful of nothing.
Why, you a rich millionaire.
But I watch it like a home. Well, I'm doing okay, living in a great big way.
Tell that to the landlord.
I'm the salt in the ocean. I'm the sun way up in the sky.
Oh, you know.
I'm Franklin D. Roosevelt. I'm $1 million long as I got a napkin.
Well, golly. It was marvelous. Bill was wonderful. He was taskmaster. He didn't want, when he was showing you something, you paid attention and you got it, he wouldn't do it 20 times or something, you know. I mean, he'd do it 2 or 3 times and you better get it, you see. I was floored. Just to think that me, a little, skinny-legged kid coming out of Chicago, and I hadn't been performing that long, and especially as a single, and nobody knew me, and to be able to work with him was a high point in my life. It was just wonderful.
First, I come out in these. Then I show Bill Robinson. Here's the shoes that Bill Robinson gave me to dance in, those wooden soles. And he gave me these shoes in 1931. And I had them ever since dancing them. They just begin to fit me now. Well, Bill Robinson was dancing, he's sitting on the shoe shining stand. And I came in the shoe shining stand, and somebody says, "This is Bill Robinson, the tap dancer." And I said, "Oh, he can't dance." He said, "What you mean I can't dance? You can't dance yourself." And I did a time step. He said, "Oh, yeah, you can dance." And I did a time step. He said, "Well, where are your shoes?" I said, "I don't have any." He said, "Well, I got a pair of shoes I'm going to give you." And the club he was working in was right across the street, called the Club Alabama. That's Curtis Mosley, Mantan Moreland, Howard Sims, and Bill Robinson.
Where was that taken?
In Los Angeles, California.
What was the
Club Alabama. So he says, "Here, when I get through with this show I'm doing out here, I'm going to give you some shoes." I didn't believe it. And at that time, I was a kid, and these shoes here was too big for me. And he wears the 8.5, and I just began to wear 8. And that way I can put on a heavy sock with the shoe. But when you hear these shoes, they don't sound like taps. They don't sound like taps at all. Like this, they sound like that's kind of where they sound. They don't sound like taps. Taps rattle. And I like this sound better than I did the taps, so I just got me a routine in them. That's Bill Robinson.
Actually, in the days when I was coming up, you would go to backstage, and my uncle and my dad were very close to Bill Robinson. So what would happen would be, you would go back and say, "Uncle Bill, can you show me how that step goes?" And if he was in the proper mood, he'd say, "All right," and he'd say, "I'm gonna do this once, see if you can get it." And he would do a step, a simple little pattern like, like. Now that's a very simple little biddly biddly boom boom. Now if you could do it, then he'd say, "Okay, now practice on that." And that's the way you would start. But performers, like musicians, were not, tap dancers, like musicians, were never afraid to extend themselves and show you how a step was done.
What did you learn about him you didn't know? Being the student you're the student of tap, but here you get involved in this one guy's life and you're making a movie. So.
Yeah, but everything. I mean, I was unaware that there was any such thing as the two-colored rule, which meant that there could be no solo black performers on the stage. There had to be a minimum of 2 black performers on the stage. I was not aware that he when he was in Canada, he stopped wearing blackface. He just stopped. And up until that time, you had to wear blackface on the stage. I was unaware that he was such a difficult guy. I mean, because I went for the image that I saw.
Yeah.
And, you know, Honey Coles, before he died, Honey used to talk about him. And Honey said, you know, he was one of these guys where if you were in trouble and you needed your rent paid, he would pay your rent for you. And then he would tell everybody he paid your rent for you.
Introductory thing. Bill Robinson was the mayor of Harlem. Consequently, you got this little speech going. The mayor of Harlem was a dancing man who ruled his people with a shoe. When he put on his boots, old trouble would scoot to People's Choice. A Bojangles to you. No speech making, just the swing of a man and the ring of a tap so true. It was more than enough when he strutted his stuff to People's Choice. A Bojangles to you. His motto of office was on to the stage, and he promised to entertain. He was a modern Caesar, a capering sage. There was nothing his feet couldn't explain. To a swing-swayed public, he was really grand. Knew just what to do. Opposition no chance when he started to dance to People's Choice. A Bojangles to you.